No, it's out today, and yeah, look, 18 degrees, which is not bad. Oh, and then again, the ambient temperature is 18 degrees, according to Mr. Thermometer. I've been watching a collection of adverts. There's a company in Japan, originally used to be American, but they exist only in Japan now, called Mr. Donut. So they do the little cute advert with animated characters eating donuts, and then at the end of it they just sing the slogan and say Mr. Donut, and that's been stuck in my head. Why can't we get cute adverts? Why? What? Wow. Do I really want to get into what's wrong with adverts these days? As a friend said, if you'd never seen the English public before, or for that matter the Scottish or Welsh public, if you'd never seen what someone from the British Isles was, and you were just basing it off of well, the adverts must surely represent them because that's the target demographic, you'd swear that England was at least 50% black. And I have seen blacks in real life. I know they exist, they're not a myth, but there's nowhere near 50% of them. I've learnt about adverts. For the longest time I didn't used to see any of them. I dusted off the PlayStation 3, and then mostly so I could play Gran Turismo again. But also I put YouTube on it, thinking to myself, this will be a convenient way when I'm in bed. Turn the PlayStation on. It's got a handheld controller that's easy to use. This will be a nice way of doing it. I'm going to use a firelighter as well. If it was just if I had some embers, I'd probably be able to get it going from just that, but I don't think that's sufficient citrus peel to get a fire going. So what was I on about? Cute adverts. That's it. PlayStation 3. Yeah, so I was watching YouTube on it, and I must admit the thing is very convenient because you can plug in. What can you plug in? You can plug in your phone, although you don't really plug it in. I still think in terms of physical connections, because this thing here, apart from the PlayStation, is the only wireless device I have. Yeah, so you can control YouTube from your phone, and then you press on the little television icon, and then it will broadcast. It will transmit data to the PlayStation to say play this video next. The consequence of this, however, has been I have been subjected to adverts on YouTube, and I did not know there was that many adverts. My God. And they're crap adverts. They're really bad. Like, I can't remember watching a single advert and thinking to myself, "Oh, I like that advert." There used to be adverts which were amusing. I seem to remember. I think it was the Heineken. No, not Heineken. Was it Boddington's advert? It had this animated bull. There was the Silk Cut adverts. Ronseal, Quick Dry and Wood Stain. The Ronseal adverts in general I liked. They seemed to annoy my dad though, because he found it was a bit patronising. I really like the JML adverts, as you may have seen. What else? What other adverts? Oh, there was a Citroen advert a few years ago with the animated transforming robots ice skating. That was quite nice. Yeah, I like that one too. I saw somebody did a parody of it where they had this 2CV and it transformed into a robot, and then when it transformed back, it just fell to pieces. It was brilliant. And then, oh, that was it, because the slogan was "Alive with Technology," and then when the 2CV tried to go back together and fell apart, it just said "Zero Technology." I like Citroen. They do some interesting cars. People have been telling me about the Citroen BX, but I think realistically the only way I can keep one of those on the road is if I invest in welding. Now, I do have a friend who's a welder, but he's also like a single father, and I don't think I'd be able to, one, get enough time for him to do it, and two, say, hey, I've got this old banger, would you help me get it on the road? Especially not as the car he had didn't have it for very long, and I think he forgot to put oil in it, and as a consequence the engine just seized up, which is a shame. I reckon he could have got another 60,000 miles out of that easily. But hey ho, you never know what someone's circumstances are. But yeah, for a welder, not the most practical man I know. Still, we can't all be perfect. Although there is that saying, if you live in Lancashire, you're getting close. Oh, I like that. I unfortunately have a few German friends, and sooner or later the subject comes up of the region of Bavaria, and I said, "Oh yes, yeah, we have a Bavaria in the British Isles. It's called Yorkshire," and that's where I used the expression, the saying, they say, "No man's perfect, but if you're living in Lancashire, you're getting close." And with the idea, yeah, much like the Bavarians think they're the best Germans, or the most Germans, the Yorkshiremen, of course, are better than any other man in the British Isles, because they're from Yorkshire, God's country. That said, Yorkshire's very beautiful, so they have a lot to be proud of. Sometimes the arrogance is earned. Sometimes the excellence causes one to. Oh, look at that! Look at the profile of that log. That's brilliant. That's like, we got log, and we got log slim, like when they have the PlayStation and then the PlayStation Slim version. I like that. But anyway, fire is done, and I'm going to enjoy playing Command and Conquer Generals 0 Hour on Windows 10. Turns out you can run 32-bit apps on Windows 10, because it is a 32-bit app and it works. That's strange. I seem to remember one of my dad had this legacy software, and I had 64-bit Windows on this computer, and it wouldn't work on it, but it was a 32-bit app. I'll have to. I can't even remember what the program was and what the specifics of it are. But it brings it up in my mind, because I thought to myself, well, I'm using 32-bit apps in 64-bit, so they are compatible-ish. Anyway, turns out, I doubt anybody will be searching for 0 hour tips on this, but The program will work, it will crash to desktop at first because it's unable to write the options INI file. So you have to manually create it yourself. Fortunately, quite a lot of people have posted guides online, and you just copy and paste it, and then you put your INI file manually into the game directory in My Documents. You'll have one that's probably like Electronic Arts, Command and Conquer Generals, semicolon, 0 hour game files. Nice long folder, you know. This was back in 2003 where programmers were very excited about how you could have long file names and folder names. Because for the longest time with Windows, up until Windows 95, I think the limit on file names was 8 characters, then a 3-character extension. So you'd often have things like commands.com or autoexec.bat. Anyway, yeah, you put your options INI file in there, the one you've manually created, and it's not super long like with modern games, so you can quite easily see somewhere near the top resolution, and it will probably have by default 800 by 600, and you can change that to 1920 by 1080, or if God forbid you got 4K, you could play Generals in 4K. At some point I might have to try getting one of these monitors, or just seeing what things are like. But, well, low on my list of priorities at the moment. I'm quite happy with high definition. Hey, look at that. That's a fire. Goodbye.